Good evening and welcome to France for stage 2 of the SISU Tour. 7 stages in its 5th edition. It's a mass start. Every grade shares the road at once, but it's the Category C fight we're here to call. 23 kilometres of Casse-Pattes, a single lap leg breaker, 2 sprints on the flats, then 2 climbs decide it. And the flag falls. They're rolling off the line and this stage is underway. So Chloe, on a course that promises to live up to its cruel little name, who's earning your money to win it?
Well, those 2 climbs decide it, Simon. So I'm reading 20-minute power to weight, and Pittard tops the lot at 3.7, one of the lightest here and flying. A category win last time out. Bracewell's my solid diesel behind him, big engine, and a recent runner-up. But if it regroups for that flat finish, watch Poole. Nobody here has a faster kick. And to read the pain as it lands, watch the live Limit Leaderboard down the screen. Each rider gets a heart bar full width across the top, then 2 below it. A flame bottom left, a lightning bolt bottom right. Heart's their closeness to a best ever cardiac effort. Flame is the live systemic limit right now. Bolt is power. Green means easy, drain it and they're suffering. Flashing empty means a new best.
Lovely stuff, Chloe. One quick note before we get stuck in. You'll spot a wheel or 2 out there who aren't on our official start sheet, so they won't feature in the call or on the leaderboard. Eyes on the names that count, because they're strung out along the coast now, and we are racing!
We certainly are, Simon, and Joe's not wasting a second, already buried well over his sustainable number as they wind up toward that first sprint banner. Barely a minute in, and his heart's climbing, the flame ticking down. That's a big early bet from a rider spending like the line's right here.
And there's a bolt gone empty and flashing. Coyote has flung everything at that marina banner and lit up a brand new best. Nearly 5...
Remember, your race is not with the A and B cats. Let them go. The C cat riders will come back to you.
Now that's a director earning his money, Simon. Straight into Poole's ear with the only sensible plan on a day like this. Those are different category legs disappearing up the road, and chasing them on the flat leaves you nothing for the climbs that actually settle this. Sit up, let the elastic stretch, trust the C group knits back together.
Yeah, that's the smart money right there, Doc. Let the quick blokes torch themselves off up the road. Word in the paddock is Bracewell's been grinding out a big sweet spot block these last few weeks, hour after dull hour, parked just under threshold. Sounds like nothing, but it quietly lifts the roof on what he can hold without cracking. So when this road finally tips up and the sprinters are drowning, he'll just settle into that grim tempo and metronome straight past the lot of them. Built for a day called Casse-Pattes, that fella. And don't let anyone tell you that sweet spot caper's glamorous either. It's just you, a fan, and a bare wall to stare at, sweating buckets and going precisely nowhere. Honestly, mate, every one of these sunflowers out here's having a lovelier afternoon than the poor beggars piddling past them.
The sunflowers do look thoroughly smug about it, Robbo, I'll grant you. But speaking of a proper hard afternoon, did either of you catch the big race in the real world this week? They've dragged themselves over the Pyrenees, and Pogacar and Rindegaard have come out the far side dead level. Not a single second between the pair of them on the whole classification. Chloe, as our resident woman of science, how on earth do 2 human beings race for hours and finish that perfectly impossibly matched?
2 near identical engines meeting identical fatigue, Simon. The road just runs out before either can prise the other loose. And funnily enough, the number's what matters here too. Pull up Pittard's card and it's a little frightening. An outright win in the tougher B grade last time out, a huge jump onto his racing score for it, and a top 5 above that. He's dropped down into C on the form of his life, and a leg breaker like this is exactly the sort of cruelty that suits him.
Cruelty's the word, Doc. Takes me right back to my own crack at a course like this years ago. Cocky young fella, thought I was bulletproof, so I skipped brekkie to save a bit of weight. Genius, that. Hit the second climb with legs full of absolutely nothing. Got so cross-eyed hungry I pinched a jam sandwich clean out of a spectator's hand at the roadside and rode the last 5k one-handed, just chewing away. No shame whatsoever. Finished stone motherless last, mate, but struth. Best sanger of me entire life.
Stone motherless last, but very well fed. That's the Robbo we adore. Now, while he was reminiscing, this race has quietly drawn its first real line in the road, Chloe. 3 Category C men have slipped off the front and stretched it to the better part of 50 seconds. Wouldn't you know it, your diesel Bracewell is right in the thick of it, Billsy doing the hardest work of the trio. But here's the sting. Your other favourite, Pittard, has missed the split entirely. He's back in the chase, well over his threshold, trying to haul it back single-handed. The brake...
Come on, what are you doing? You need to go. Push, push, push.
And there is the answer to that spray of orders. Chloe, Poole has heard push, 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 and absolutely detonated off the front of the chase group. Look at the number on him, getting on for double his sustainable output, flinging himself up the road in a bid to bridge across to that break. A total about-turn from the calm heads plan we heard earlier, and Poole has swallowed it whole. The only question is whether a dig this violent can ever be paid back.
And there's the first casualty of that acceleration already. Belzile-Upika-Opt went with it, Simon, and now he's coming apart at the seams.
Okay, good job. Now recover, but don't lose the wheel again.
And a warmer word from the team car now. Good job. Recover. Don't lose that wheel again, because that violent dig actually paid off. Poole has hauled himself up to the group ahead, and he's dragged Belzile-Upika-Opt across with him, the pair of them latching onto that more forward bunch and clawing back a few precious seconds on the leaders. Now the order is simple. Sit in, breathe, and hold. Job done for the moment, Chloe.
And that jump didn't come from nowhere, Simon. Word in the paddock is Poole's been sneaking in micro-dose sprints day after day. Just a handful of flat-out 5-second efforts each ride, then he knocks it on the head. Sounds lazy as you like, but it's proper clever. You keep the fast twitch snap firing sharp without ever digging the deep hole a full sprint session leaves you. So the pop stays, the fatigue doesn't. Only trouble is, mate, all the snappy little sprints in the world won't refill what he just tipped straight down the drain on that bridge.
That drain's real, Robbo. A dig like that doesn't come back on a flat road. You just get to pretend it has. But while everyone's transfixed by Poole setting fire to his afternoon, let me point you at the quiet man who's been sitting on his wheel, Joe. Nobody said his name all day. Yet pull his recent card, and it's a 3rd and a 4th on the bounce in this exact grade. Racing score ticking up both times. He's done nothing flashy, and he's fresh as paint. On a leg breaker like this, that's precisely the profile that quietly mugs the heroes at the line.
Mug the heroes at the line. Don't get me started, Doc, because I've been the mug. Years back, dead certain I'd won a little crit. Gap looked a mile, so I sit up on the finishing straight, zip the jersey all nice for the cameras, start blowing kisses to me mum in the crowd, and some bloke I'd never clapped eyes on comes past me like I'm parked, throws his bike and pinches it by the width of a tyre. And winner's photos got me grinning like a goose arms up in 2nd place. And me mum framed it, mate. So proud, love. Still on her wall. Never lived it down.
Framed on the wall for all eternity. Robbo, that is the cruelest trophy in all of cycling. But eyes forward now, because this race has taken a real shape. 2 men are clear off the front by the better part of a minute, and your diesel Bracewell has slotted onto the perfect wheel, letting Billsy do all the grunt work out in the wind. Behind them, the chase is a full 50 seconds in arrears, and the first climb of the day, that little drag up to the aqueduct, is looming into view. If the chasers are going to rescue this, the road tipping up is their one invitation. Sit and admire the sunflowers any longer, Chloe, and that brake ride's clean away.
And if anyone in that chase is built to answer the invitation, Simon, it's Binet. Pull his training log, and it is textbook polarized work. That means the vast bulk of his week is spent riding genuinely, boringly easy, well below threshold, and then one thin slice of it absolutely flat out, with almost nothing in the gray zone between. The easy volume lays down a huge aerobic base without heaping on fatigue, so when he does go to the well on the hard days, he can dig truly deep and still back up the next morning. It is the polar opposite of grinding at a medium ache every single ride, and it is precisely why a big engine like his can keep leaning on the pedals long after the medium hard merchants have quietly cooked themselves.
cooked themselves. You do have a gift for the grisly image, Chloe, and it is worth remembering that the man sitting so pretty in that front pair, Bracewell, did not stumble into this move by accident. Pull his recent form, and he rolled home a fine second place last time out, points ticking onto his racing score for the effort. That is a rider arriving with the legs and the belief to match, and he has read today beautifully, letting Billsy break the wind out front while he quietly hoards everything for the Queen climb that's coming.
Hoarding everything for the climb. Mate, that's just wheel sucking with a fancy suit on. Fair dinkum. I built a whole career sitting on some other Poole beggar's back wheel, contributing about as much as a hood ornament. Proudest days of me life, honestly.
A hood ornament with a pension plan? Only you, Robbo. But that free ride is officially over because the road is tipping up into the Queen climb as we speak, and this is exactly where the wheel suckers get handed the bill. Up front, the brakes lead is holding at around a minute, and the pair of them are already leaning on it hard. The good news for the chase, the two freshest sets of legs in it, Pittard and Poole, have barely dented their reserves, so they've ammunition to answer if anyone lights it up. And spare a thought for Furtado, dangling in between. He's coming undone on the lower ramps, and this bunch is winding him back with every pedal stroke.
And it's Belzile-Upika-Opt who's feeling the pinch first, Chloe. He's drifted to the very back of that group as the ramp steepens, out of the saddle now, wringing everything he has just to hold the wheel in front. He hasn't been shelled, not yet. He's clinging on by the fingernails, right on the rivet, but he is still in there. This is the Queen climb beginning to sort them out.
Sorting them out is dead right, Simon, and this is precisely the climb Billsy's been prepping for. Word from his camp is he's had the finger prick lactate kit out all block. Little pinprick blood tests taken through his efforts to pinpoint the exact wattage where the legs start drowning in acid. Grim little ritual, jabbing yourself mid-session, but it pays off. He knows to the watt what he can hold on a drag like this and precisely where the wall sits. So while others are riding on feel and guessing wrong, he'll be metering it to the decimal, right up to that ceiling, never a stroke through it. That's a bloke who did his homework.
And this is the reckoning I flagged, Simon. Look at the number Poole is holding just to stay in contact. He's grinding out well over 4 watts per kilo as the ramp steepens, way north of anything he can sit on for long. His systemic bar creeping up with every pedal stroke. That's a rider spending money he already borrowed once today on that bridge. He is still in the group, still fighting, but he is deep in the red to be there.
Borrowed money on a bridge! Chloe, you should be running a bank! And spare a thought for the man who's made this entire race, Billsy, out there driving the brake into the wind. His results sheet won't dazzle you at a glance, but cast back to the opening time trial of this very tour, and he rolled a rock-solid 5th against the clock. No wheels to hide on, just raw horsepower alone against the numbers. So this aggression today is no fluke. The engine is genuinely there, and he has simply decided to race it from the very front. And now Poole has stopped merely surviving. He surged to the head of the group and lit the fuse. Deep in the red as he is, he's dragged himself to the front and cranked the pace up past 4 watts a kilo on this brutal pitch. Whether it's bravado or sheer desperation, Poole is the one forcing the issue now, trying to wrench this bunch apart before the banner. An extraordinary dig from a man who, by rights, should be running on empty.
And that dig has done real damage, Simon. Poole's acceleration has torn the group to shreds. Up the steepest pitch of this climb, he's got only a couple of wheels still able to hold him, and the rest have been spat out the back, shipping seconds by the fistful. His systemic bar is buried deep in the red to do it, mind you, but make no mistake, that reckless-looking move has just carved the selection on the Queen climb. Poole has turned his own desperation into a weapon.
So here's the shape of it as the banner draws near, Chloe. Bracewell and Billsy still glued together out front, trading turns like a well-oiled machine. Behind them, Poole's little grenade has left a tight 3. Him, Belzile-Upika-Opt and Pittard, all still shoulder to shoulder and refusing to give an inch. But scattered in behind, it's carnage. Furtado, Binet, Clark and Joe all off the pace on their own private struggles. And poor Coyote miles back, fighting a race of 1. The top of this climb is close now. Does that leading trio hold, or does the summit hand someone a second wind?
And here's the flip side, Simon. The man who was hanging on by his fingernails a minute ago is now the one driving this group. Belzile-Upika-Opt has hauled himself to the front, and he's pushing well past his threshold to keep it honest on this pitch, dragging Poole and Pittard along in his wake. Whatever was wobbling in him earlier, it's steadied. This is a rider answering back.
Oi, Simon, forget the group for a tick. Out front, Bracewell's just done something special. Been grinding to this same relentless number for the best part of this whole climb now, and he's just ridden his way to the best sustained output he's ever put out over that kind of stretch. Absolute horsepower, that. He's not just leading this race, mate. He's rewriting his own ledger while he does it.
And Poole isn't done yet, Chloe. The road's kicked up to its steepest pitch of the whole climb, and he's right back on the front of this group, absolutely burying himself into the gradient. That's twice now he's put his hand up when it mattered most. Whatever reserves he had left after that first dig, he's spending them all over again.
And you can see exactly what that's costing him, Simon. Poole's systemic bar is draining fast now, creeping toward empty with every stroke on this pitch. He's still holding the pace, still on the front, but this is not free. If the gradient doesn't ease soon, this is the kind of number that ends in someone getting shelled. And right now, the candidate is the man making all the effort.
Still Poole on the front, still driving it, and that power number just will not come down. He's within a whisker of a brand new best output for an effort this long. Every pedal stroke chiseling closer to territory.
Bury yourself now. Come on. You have the whole descent to recover.
There's the voice of reason crackling over the radio there for Poole. Bury it now. Recover on the way down. And that's exactly the calculation he's making, isn't it? Still driving away on the front of this group as the gradient bites, betting everything that the downhill on the other side will pay back what he's spending right now. Look at this! Poole has found something that shouldn't exist. He's just produced more watts than anyone said he had left, right at the exact moment his whole system is reading its absolute limit. This is a rider 3 months into uncharted territory, discovering it all over again on this pitch. Utterly extraordinary.
And it's not letting up, Simon. Poole has now set a new ceiling for power at this length of effort and for total systemic load, both at once, while he's still sitting above what the number said he had available. 3 different ways of measuring suffering, and he's maxed out every single one of them simultaneously. The banner's close now. If he's got anything at all left after this, we're about to find out.
Struth, that's not a stat line, Doc. That's a full house. Every number on the board lit up in the same breath. Reckon somewhere there's a poor bloke doing the stats for this race who just spat his coffee clean across the desk. Yeah, he'd want a stiff coffee too if he saw Furtado's food diary from this block, mate. Word is he's been training low and racing high, riding a chunk of his sessions on purpose with next to no carbs in the tank, just to force the body to get better at burning fat for fuel. Miserable way to train, legs like lead the whole time, but it means on race day, with the tank actually full, he's got carbohydrate to burn deep into a race like this instead of running dry on the second half of a climb.
While we let that stretch play out, Simon, let's talk about Pittard. Because he's quietly sitting right where his racing score says he should be, right near the top of this whole bracket and right up in the leading group to match it. What's interesting is how little he spent to get there. His numbers are barely dented compared to the group around him, and he's got the sharpest finishing kick of anyone left in this race. From here, it's all rollers and a flat run to the coast. If this stays together, a good day for him looks very simple. Sit tight, save every last watt, and let his legs do the talking in the final sprint.
Yeah, righto, Simon. Let me paint it for you. This one's strung out to the 4 winds up front. Bracewell's away on his own, a lovely big buffer, and not a soul laying a glove on him as he winds down toward that marina banner. Then it's Billsy all alone in no man's land, grinding away for second. And back of him, Belzile-Upika-Opt's emptying the tank completely, gone clean past his own ceiling just to claw at it. But that elastic snapped a long while ago, mate. No bunch kick up there at all, just 3 fellas time trialling at home. Back to you.
And up the road, this race is being settled exactly the way Bracewell always intended it. Out on his own, not a soul left to argue with, winding that big diesel down the final drag to the marina. By the time the picture catches him, he'll already be across, and it's Bracewell who takes the stage. A ride of cool, patient horsepower, every match hoarded for the one moment it mattered. Behind him, the fight for the minor honours is well and truly on now. Billsy's grinding away all on his lonesome. Precious little thanks for that long, brutal day out there driving the wind. But a fine second place is surely his reward if he can carry it home. And further back, Belzile-Upika-Opt is hauling himself onward, way past his own ceiling, flatly refusing to sit up, clawing at third with every last thing left in the tank, brave to the very end of it. And the very last duel comes to the boil now. Pittard and Poole side by side onto the final drag, winding it up for the placings. Poole's out of the saddle, flinging everything he has at it. Pittard locked to his hip and refusing to give an inch. Toward the banner they surge, shoulder to shoulder, neither man yielding a thing. They throw for the line together and it's Pittard. Pittard pips Poole right on the banner by the width of a tyre. And that is Casse-Pattes done and dusted. Well, there is your winner of Casse-Pattes, Bracewell, the big diesel who read this leg breaker to absolute perfection, sat on Billsy across the flats and then simply rode away from the lot of them the moment the road tipped up. Billsy the just reward of second for all that donkey work in the wind, and Belzile-Upika-Opt a courageous third on a body that was howling at him for the last 10 minutes. And spare a thought for Poole, who lit up half the timing screen detonating on that climb and still had the front to fight for the line, pipped to fifth by a tiny little kick from Pittard. But what a gloriously silly way to go down. Chloe, give us the numbers behind it all.
Gladly, Simon. And it's a beautifully simple story. This was one on restraint. Bracewell barely nudged his systemic bar off green all day, let Billsy burn the matches out in the wind, and still had the freshest legs in the race when the Queen climb finally asked the question. Everyone who forced it paid the bill. Poole and Belzile-Upika-Opt both drove themselves clean through the roof on that climb, set genuine new bests they should be proud of for months, and then had absolutely nothing left to cover a rider who simply spent less. That's the cruel arithmetic of a leg breaker, written right there in the numbers. Casse-Pattes doesn't reward the bravest, it rewards the one who hoards the most. Wonderful racing from the whole field. From all three of us here in the booth, good night.